Welcome to yet another episode of A Story for Your Queries. Today, I shall deal with patience, which is a topic suggested by the listeners. Let me start with a story from Buddhism. Buddha and his disciples decided to undertake a journey in which they would have had to cross several territories and cities. One day, they saw a lake at a distance. They decided to stop there, since they were thirsty. When they arrived, Buddha said to the youngest and the most impatient disciple, "I'm thirsty. Can you get me some water from that lake?" The disciple went to the lake, but when he arrived, he noticed that a wagon of oxen was crossing it. Little by little, the water became cloudy. After this happened, the disciple thought, "I can't give the teacher this muddy water to drink." Thus, he went back and told Buddha, "The water is muddy. I don't think we can drink it." About half an hour later, Buddha asked the disciple to go back to the lake and bring him some water to drink. However, the water was still dirty. Once he returned, he said to Buddha, "We can't drink that water. We should walk to the town to get something to drink." Buddha did not answer him. However, he didn't make any movement either. He just stayed there. After a while, Buddha asked the disciple once again to go back to the lake and bring him water. As he didn't want to challenge his master, the young disciple went to the lake. However, he was furious because he didn't understand why he had asked him to go back again to fetch water when the water was muddy and they couldn't drink it. When he arrived, he observed now the water looked crystal clear. So he collected some water and brought it to Buddha. He looked at the water and said to the disciple, "What have you done to clean the water?" The disciple didn't answer the question. It was obvious that he hadn't done anything. The Buddha looked at him and explained, "You waited and let it be. Therefore, the mud settled on its own, and now the water is clear. The mind is like that. When it is muddy, you have to let it be. Give it some time. Don't be impatient." Patience is the key to this Buddhist story. It is about the art of knowing how to wait, respect time, and pausing when the occasion calls for it, especially when it comes to your thoughts. In fact, the more overwhelmed you find yourself, the more you need to stop thinking before the web of thought grows. What is patience? Patience is a person's ability to wait or endure something tedious without getting tied up. It is the capacity to accept or tolerate delay, problems, or suffering without becoming annoyed or anxious. Having patience means you can remain calm even when you've been waiting in the long line, dealing with something painstakingly slow, or trying to teach someone who is not understanding the concept, and so on. What are the benefits of practicing patience? It helps to focus on a long term outcome and goals rather than short term pleasure. Let's take an analogy. If you were to take up a journey from Kashmir to Kanyakumari in X number of days, we will need several short trips along the route before the journey is completed. If one of these shorter journeys is compromised, the final goal would be affected. Patience puts us in direct control of ourselves rather than get emotionally hijacked by our emotions. Patience increases our threshold of tolerance. Patience is a skill. We can work on increasing our ability to be patient and engage in practices to become a more patient person. When we are patient, we are better people, managers, and business leaders. Here are a few tips to develop patience. Make yourself wait. A study published in Psychological Science shows that waiting for things actually makes us happier in the long run. Start with something small, like waiting a few extra minutes to eat that ice cream cone. You will begin to gain more patience as you practice. There is a substance called serotonin, which normally is released by a small set of cells in an area of the brain called raphe nuclei. There is a connection between released serotonin and the patience levels of the individual. However, what naturally causes these neurons to become active and release serotonin and how this affects brain function is still poorly understood. Create an environment where self control is consistently awarded. The Stanford Marshmallow Experiment was a study by Stanford University on delayed gratification in 1972. In this study, a child was offered a choice between a small but immediate reward or two small rewards if they waited for a period of 15 minutes. In follow up studies, the researchers found that children who were able to wait longer for the preferred rewards tended to become a better individual and they had better life outcomes. Stop doing things that are not important. Take a few minutes and evaluate your work. Look at your schedule from when you wake up to the time you go to sleep. Take out 2 or 3 things that you do that are not important but take time. Be mindful of the things that are making you impatient. Most people have several tasks in their head and they jump from thought to thought without taking time to finish one task first. We live interrupted lives as we try to multitask, and it is frustrating when we feel we are not making progress. Try to be mindful of your thoughts, and the best way to understand this is to write down what makes you impatient. Relax and take deep breaths. Most of all, just relax and take deep breaths. Taking slow, deep breaths can help you to calm the mind and the body. This is the easiest way to help ease any impatient feelings that you are experiencing. Running away from things without facing them does not make you become a patient individual. Let me sum up with yet another story. There was a monk who was very impatient. The more he tried, the more impatient he became. So he decided that he must get away to learn to be patient. So he built himself a little home deep in the woods, far away from the civilization. Years later, a man was traveling in the woods and he met him. The man was amazed to find anyone living so far away from the rest of the world. So he asked the monk why he was there by himself. The monk said he was there to learn to be patient. The traveler asked how long he had been there, and the monk replied, several years. Stunned, the traveler asked again, if there is no one around to bother you, how will you know when you are patient? Which is true. Now the monk replied, get away from me. I have no time for you. Any questions that you have that could be addressed to your query, mystory@gmail.com. I shall try to answer it as quickly as I can. If the query is good, I might pick it up as I have done this time. You may send voice messages through Anchor or Spotify. That's all for today. Keep sending those messages. We shall meet next Wednesday. Thank you.